5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Since the beginning of their existence, men have associated certain colors to certain meanings or behaviors. For example, green is known to be appealing to the eye and will relax it. Most people also consider it to be the color of envy. Blue is believed to relieve pain by calming someone down and slowing down the heart rate, and is therefore used in many hospital rooms. Red, on the other hand, is believed to increase someone's heart rate and has the opposite effects of blue. Yellow, some people say, is a color that increases someone's focus, and there are many more theories on colors affecting human behavior that have not been listed here. Whether these claims have any type of factual backing or are simply myths made up by people over generations and generations is a question that has yet to be answered, and thus Team ShopRite posed the question of whether or not the color of testing paper affects a high school student's ability to do well. To solve this great mystery, the learning team went out and bought green colored paper and gave it to 4 randomly selected math teachers in Parsippany High School. The teachers then randomly distributed the white or green test papers to their students and gave the results to Team ShopRite to analyze and draw conclusions.
In Team ShopRite's study, the null hypothesis is that the difference between the mean test score on the green sheets and the mean test score on the white sheets is 0. Additionally, the alternative hypothesis is that the mean test score on the green sheets are greater than the mean test score on the white sheets. The reason that Team ShopRite chose the hypothesis is that the goal of this study is to see if there is any difference in performing tests on green sheets and white sheets. Team ShopRite believed before the experiment was conducted that if there was a difference, the green paper would show better test scores. Members of Team ShopRite approached a randomly selected regular Algebra 2 teacher, a regular Geometry teacher, a regular Pre-Calculus teacher, and a regular Calculus teacher. Ms. DiGeronimo, Ms. Clifford, Mr. Muller, and Ms. Berry. To prevent selection bias, Team ShopRite made the experiment double-blinded so the teachers would determine how the different colored tests were distributed. Teachers were told to randomly distribute a different colored test, but the random method was not left for teachers to decide.
The frequency of both data sets are very similar. There are 38 students who used white paper on their test and 40 students who used green papers on their test. Generally, the data spread was from 30% to 100%. However, most data falls between 60% and 100%. From the data graphs, the learning team finds that a majority of students are getting higher grades in the data that the learning team collected. To be specific, students using white paper are getting better grades than green sheets. However, conclusive results can only be found by conducting significant tests.
Since Team ShopRite is studying the mean score for tests on white and green paper, the goal of this study is to attempt to figure out if there is any difference in the effect of different color paper on students' test score.
Thus, the learning team used 2 sample teachers to analyze the data.
Since the p-value is 0.911 and this is much higher than the alpha value, the learning team concludes that the test fails to reject the null hypothesis. Therefore, Team ShopRite concludes that there is no significant difference between the scores of students who had white paper versus green paper. Team ShopRite can go further to conclude that colors, at least on test paper, do not affect students' abilities to achieve superior academic performance. Teachers do not need to concern themselves over the color of paper when giving tests to students according to the experiment. However, since there are many lurking variables that cannot be eliminated, the results and conclusions drawn from this experiment cannot be completely dependable. Some of the lurking variables include senioritis in the senior class, students having too many tests and not being able to study, variation in student academic abilities, students' personal like or dislike of certain colors, and teacher bias in grading.
Most of the project went very smoothly. The learning team worked very well together in creating this experiment using their personal connections with teachers. The 4 teachers that Team ShopRite worked with were very cooperative and followed all the directions. The data was collected right on schedule and conclusions were swiftly drawn. There were no disagreements between any of the members. Although Team ShopRite's experiment was an overall success, there were a few difficulties along the way. While the teachers were very agreeable in helping the learning team collect data and enhance their overall learning experience, there were some unavoidable conflicts in testing schedules and their own after-school plans that made it difficult at times to maintain a steady stream of communication. Since not all teachers were planning to give assessments to their students in the week where data was scheduled to be collected, not much could be done while teachers were distributing and grading the assessments. Other than that, Team ShopRite was basically perfect.
Where is he? Where'd he go? I can't breathe.